is a very simple law of economics that says if you are a government and you want more of something, you subsidize that thing. If you want less of something, then you tax that thing. If that is the case, why is our government subsidizing junk food? And why are they making it harder for people who produce fruits and vegetables? That is the question I pose on this episode of the Utah Stories. This is a mini episode, the kind of a teaser for the longer episode, but I want to basically just introduce you to my findings. So if the government were truly interested in helping all Americans be healthier, why is it they're producing the people who produce the ingredients for junk food? Why are they paying them to produce their food? So for example, in this country, we pay sugar producers $4 billion. That amounts to about $700,000 per producer. Does anybody want to produce sugar? Man, to get paid $700,000 to produce a product, that would be amazing. But why is this happening? So it goes all the way back to the Great Depression when family farms were getting ravaged by the Dust Bowl, by pestilence. Family farms were going into foreclosure. The government passed what is called the Farm Bill. And the Farm Bill basically paid farmers to regulate their growth, to regulate the growth production of their crops, and to sometimes grow abundantly, but sometimes not grow. It's a pretty complicated subject. I'm not going to go into it in too much detail, but essentially it rewards the factory farm producers of corn, wheat, soybeans, cotton, and sugar. I mean, are those things we really need more of? And as a result, in this country, we produce far more corn and wheat than we could possibly use. So what do we do with the extra corn, for example? Well, the extra corn they can produce into ethanol, and we have to put it in our engines. It's mandated now that a certain percentage of our gasoline be ethanol. And ethanol has a reputation for clogging your engine. It doesn't burn as nicely as fuel, as regular fuel. So is this really a wonderful idea? No. Why not produce less corn and more healthy fruits and vegetables? Because the corn producers are getting paid. We're subsidizing it. So examining this problem at a more granular level, what we find is that the healthiest people are typically the higher income earners. They're the more educated people. They're the people who have time and money to buy healthy fruits and vegetables. And then the poor working class people who don't have time to cook, they end up being the unhealthier people and the ones who are suffering from mostly obesity. And obesity is the cause of chronic diseases. And chronic diseases are what eat up the majority of our healthcare costs in this country. And in the United States, we pay more for healthcare than any other developed nation. And I think it is good to consider our healthcare picture as a picture that encapsulates all of us, not just the rich, not just the poor, but all of us, because we all end up paying. There's Medicare for the elderly, and there's Medicaid for the poor. We all pay the bill. So if we started to think in terms of how do we produce better outcomes for everybody, then the government would start subsidizing fresh fruit and vegetable producers and at least eliminating the giant handouts they're giving to grain producers and sugar producers. Because, for example, you walk in to a convenience store or bodega in the middle of a city, what is it that you find that they have more of than anything else? Soda, chips, processed foods, all the foods that have extremely long shelf lives. And what do they have an absence of? Fresh fruits and vegetables. So, like I said in the beginning, you pay producers, you subsidize whatever you want to see more of, you tax whatever you want to see less of. They're not using that basic fundamental principle of economics to regulate our markets to make a healthier society for us. So that's pretty much what we go into in this episode of the Utah Stories Show in more detail. If you'd like to watch that episode, you can click right up here. And I would encourage you to go out and pick up our new issue of the Utah Stories magazine. This is our health and nature issue. We decided to tie the two together. The reason why we see health and nature tied together is because Utah just so happens to be one of the healthiest states in the entire country. And my contention, my belief, hypothesis is that that is because we love our outdoor recreation in Utah. We love to get outside. We love to recreate outside. I love the mountains. I know all of my friends and pretty much all of my family absolutely love to get out in the mountains. And we need to remember the intrinsic connections that we have with nature is really ultimately what helps us to be more healthy. So if you would like to get your own copy of the Utah Stories magazine and you're not readily in this area, go down and subscribe to the Voice of Local Utah right here by putting your email address in. You can also, that's how you get the digital subscription. You can also subscribe to the magazine by clicking on the About page and then Utah Stories subscription. And you can just fill out this, and it's $24 for the entire year. So with that, I wrap up this mini episode of the Utah Stories Show. Thanks so much for watching. Again, watch the longer episode. I think you'll enjoy it. Read the magazine. I think you'll enjoy it. I'll see you next time.